What's up, everybody? GZTV back with another YouTube video, and we have our weekly album review. We didn't do one last week. We're doing one now, though. We have Saba, Care For Me, Saba's breakthrough album. We just listened to his new one that came out on Friday, so I figured I'd go back in his discog and listen to his best album. Here it is. Okay. We explain the album, then I give you guys my thoughts. On March 14th, 2018, Saba shared an announcement on all of his social media, tuned into his Instagram Live later that same day. The announcement turned into the reveal of Saba's second studio album, Care For Me. Speculations of the album surfaced back in February of the same year when the Care For Me tour was announced. The album was promoted by the lead single, Busy, which turned out to be a part of Busy Sirens on the album, and the second single, Life. The album is dedicated to the memory of Saba's late cousin and frequent collaborator, Walter John Walt Long Jr., and centers heavily around Saba's experience after the loss. Care For Me is darker and more introspective than Saba's previous album, Bucket List Project, which focused on aspirations and accomplishing goals, and generally was open and upbeat. Let's get to the first song, Busy Sirens. The original Busy was the first single promoting Saba's second studio album, Care For Me. The rapper announced its release after deleting all of the previous photos on his Instagram page and posting a new photo of himself sporting a new haircut. The post was then followed up by a snippet of the music video 2 days later. The snippet was one of his first social media appearances since he took a social media hiatus after the release of Bucket List Project. With the release of Care For Me, the original Busy was a part of a two-part track, Busy Sirens. The Mind was also given a closing verse on the album version, which leads into Sirens. In the song, Saba reveals the feelings and thoughts he's been dealing with over the past couple of years since his cousin and fellow Pivot Gang member John Walt's tragic murder in early 2017. The two-part track is one of Saba's most revealing and uncut performances, and its rawness reveals hints about the tone of the album. Moving on to Broken Girls. In the song Broken Girls, Saba addresses his personal struggle and possibly our general struggles with constantly chasing the wrong girls for the wrong reasons. Speaking of past experiences from past relationships, Saba examines situations where the girls he was dating or he himself did certain things in a wrongful manner and addresses the further pain that particular actions caused him to feel. Moving on to Life. Life illustrates with a more intense and panic tone than the mellow and melancholy vibe of the previous song, Care For Me. Broken Girls, Saba continues to detail hardships he faced after the death of his cousin, close friend, and fellow Pivot Gang member John Walt. Furthermore, as referenced in the chorus, Saba's uncle went to jail when he was young. His uncle got out pretty recently, but only a year after getting out of his uncle died in his sleep. The death in Saba's life propels the theme of life. Check out Saba's official music video for Life. You can go check it out. Next is Calligraphy. Calligraphy is the fourth song off of Saba's Care For Me. The track resonates with introspection, detailing Saba's use of writing to come to terms with reality, and end result help him with his journey to escape the gang culture and violence that's prevalent in his hometown, Chicago, of course. Next song is Fighter. Saba contemplates about multiple altercations he has gotten into over his time, including that with himself. Each stanza tackles a different altercation, seemingly in chronological order. Next song is Smile. In slight contrast with the more somber nature of his Care For Me album, on Smile, Saba reminisces about his childhood growing up in his grandmother's apartment in Chicago. The album cover photo is taken in his grandmother's kitchen and expresses his wish of moving to the South, where his grandparents originate from, in order to leave behind the gloomier memories for a while and find some peace. Next song is Log Out. Log Out is a single from Saba's sophomore album, Care For Me, featuring fellow Chicagoan Chance the Rapper, and as you guys know, they're really good friends. Saba and Chance express feelings of insecurity and dependence on social media, something that the generation in which they belong seems to relate to. The song shows the dark sides of social media and the internet that one realizes after disconnecting from them, its addictive nature, its draining effects, and the feeling of lifelessness and it leaves users with. Saba exhibits an awareness that posting to social media is itself a reminder of how boring the world is outside of it. Saba and Chance collaborated previously on the latter's Angels and Everybody's Something from his 2016 mixtape Coloring Book and breakout mixtape Acid Rap, respectively. Next is Gray. On Gray, track 8 on his sophomore album, Care For Me, Saba gives his thoughts on the troubles of being an artist in the music industry as a greater whole. He uses the color gray to describe the boring, non-genuine music he is surrounded by and why the rawness in music is the most important element. Gray is also a prominent color used in the album cover. It's in black and white, of course. Next is Prom King, which is like one of his best songs ever. A lot of people have told me this, and I believe them now after listening to it. The ninth track on Staba's sophomore album, Care For Me, tells his early memories of friend, cousin, and fellow Pivot Gang member John Walt, and the lead up to his fatal stabbing in early 2017. Prom details his first troubling prom experience in which he was threatened to be killed by his date's brother, the importance of family, and how he came to be friends with Walt. King tells the story of the lead up to Walt's death, from working on Bucket List Project to being in the studio with Legit when Walt was killed. Notice that when read in order, the two titles of the track come out as Prom King, which is how I kind of read it, and I think it's got a kind of a ring to it. It's pretty cool. That's a really good song from him. Next is Heaven All Around Me. Saba raps from the perspective of his cousin John Walt after Walt was stabbed and killed. Very sad, very dark song. This concludes the story of Walt after Prom King and brings the album to a close. It's one of the many religious references on the album and ties in with angels receiving him. Kind of. He's a very religious guy. Him and Chance the Rapper are. They were kind of, like, if you will, raised on the same ideals. And you know, if you're growing up in like this hard environment, obviously you're gonna adopt those ideals and carry on with them throughout your musical career, throughout your life, throughout whatever, throughout your lyrics. You know, it's. I mean, it's hard not to pray to God when like nothing's going your way. There's shootings all around you. You're losing family members and whatnot. So that's kind of like why rappers are so religious, you know? It's kind of just the reality of things. Like, you gotta throw up a prayer every once in a while when you're feeling down, and Saba, you know, shows that. Obviously, Saba was a little more fortunate of a kid than most rappers. You know, he's a very smart kid. He wasn't quite as distracted as like other parts of his family. Like obviously Walt, rest in peace. Pivot Gang is a very good collective. You know, I've heard of them in the past. They were on Saba's newest album, and now that I think about it, while I was reacting to Saba's new album, I was like, who are these people? But I think I've heard them in other projects, so that's pretty awesome. I don't really have that much else to say. Very good album from Saba. It's honestly way better than the album I just listened to, and that's not a bad thing because I think the new album's great. It's pretty much top 50 worthy. I mean, what isn't at this point? But I think this album is amazing. He's got such a unique delivery and flow and whatnot. He's very like smooth with it. It seems effortless for him to rap. I think it's awesome. He's got great vibes. He's got all sorts of different vibes. I guess he's very like, what do I say? He's versatile. He's a very versatile artist, you know, and he's like him even talking about like how dull the industry is. He's not one of those industry playing guys, and I'm happy to say that about him because I really like these rappers that kind of go in their own lane and steer away from the mainstream. I don't mind mainstream music every once in a while, but I like the artists that definitely steer away and make a name for themselves. And it's hard to do that, which is why at the end of the day, when someone succeeds with it, that's why they get my respect. So I think it's really awesome. Saba's had a very good career so far. Only one really notable project, and it's this one, but that's not a bad thing. You know, him and Chance the Rapper have been great friends in the industry, and Chance the Rapper has definitely lifted him up through tough times and stuff. You know, he's very anxious. You know, he hasn't always been a people person. He didn't have a lot of friends in high school, and I think that's really cool to finally see him be a rapper and have this public persona and get him out of his own lane and kind of interact with other people. You know, being famous can be a blessing and a curse, and you know he definitely discusses that on this record. Production was pretty good. Not like the best part of the album though. I think Saba's lyricism and his voice, his vocal performance was honestly outshining the production, which is awesome. Awesome. Because really what you get with mainstream is the production outshining the rappers, but when the rappers outshine the production, that's where we see some of the greater rappers like in the game. You know, Jay-Z, even Kanye West outdoes his own production with his lyrics. Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, like sometimes you don't even hear the beat when guys like that get in the booth. I'm not comparing Saba to them, I never will, but he's just one of those rappers that doesn't like necessarily, how do I say this? Even with good production, he can still be the best part of a track, and that's awesome. So that's the review. I kind of babbled on and on. I've talked a lot today, but leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm done for the day. There's no more videos. Tomorrow you guys will get some Spider-Man gameplay because I was playing the remastered PS5 version. I'm going to continue doing that. I played that like months ago, and then because I had no other videos to post. But now I have a full-time series coming. That's going to be pretty awesome. more video games in the meantime until more story games come out. That's pretty much what I'm doing it for. But have a good rest of your day. I'm out. I'm gonna chill